not used to this new phone. So I literally like put my hand up for a second and it started, child. I'm not used to that. But I'm in the middle of filming customs, and I've been thinking about the conversations that's been on the timeline lately with your relationships, friendships. Libra is in, I put on the screen, I can't remember. Scorpio, Taurus, one of them. And so that means that everybody is Libra. I said Libra. No, Venus is in Libra. That wrong way. I had it flipped. But that means everybody has been reviewing the relationships, trying to figure out what serves them, what doesn't serve them, have been trying to figure out where people fit into their lives. Because we've been having some changes over the last 4 or 5 years, some of us even longer, and we're realizing that the people that were in our lives, they ain't catching up. They're not following us, and yes, that's hard to accept that the people who once were are no longer on your level. And a lot of people are having a hard issue with that, understandably so, because somebody that you've known for 5, 10, 15, 20 years is now somebody that you don't recognize or remind you of who you used to be. So it's like you're trying to reevaluate their place, your place, where you're going, where you see them with you, where you see them. Come on, wait. Where you see them with you going. See them with them. Y'all know what I mean. And a lot of people are, myself included, have a hard time or are having a hard time accepting that we may have to say goodbye to some people that have been in our lives for years, or may have to keep them at a distance. May have to keep them at a distance so that we can welcome in new people into our lives, because a lot of times we have people in our lives who are holding us back, because they're on a different wavelength, they're in a different mode, in a different realm than we are, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, or they're trying to play catch up. So we have to figure out where to place them so that we don't stunt our own growth while they're going through their own growth, you know? And that can be hard. That could be very, you can feel bad, you know? You can feel bad, and it can feel like you are abandoning them, you know, because it goes along with the conversation of dating and how some people, we were never taught how to date. Some people know how to date. Some people, because of trauma, were forced to date one way or were shamed into dating one way. Some people never have been on a date before because they've come into contact with people who are only about sex, which, if that's what you want, fine. But you got to find the people who also want what you want. And that goes in line with friendship. You have to find people who want the things that you want, or who are falling in line or finding their place. And a lot of people won't, you know? I got lip gloss on. A lot of people will not find their way to you or find your way back into your life. Hold on. I love this color. It's so pretty. Oh, bitch. That's the only thing about these little lipstick tubes and lip gloss tubes. Honey, these lips. I run through, if I use these 3 times in a week, these are done. These are done. Like, and then you're having the nerve to be wanting to charge more than a few dollars for these. Baby, these lips. They were made for big tubes. They were made for lip glosses and lipsticks that come with more product in it, and that's okay. But you feel bad for not bringing these people along, and feeling like you have to bring people along when they no longer can, I was going to say can fit on the ride, no longer want to be on the same ride as you. You have no reason to feel bad for that. You don't. you can feel bad because we're human, empathy and not wanting to kick rocks, tell them to kick rocks or anything. But you have a right to be in line with people who are on the same road as you, who want the same things that you do, who have the same mindset that you do. And I've noticed that a lot of people on the timeline, a lot of people who may have outgrown people and they're not really quite ready to accept that they may have outgrown people or that people may have outgrown them, they attempt to shame people into keeping other folks in their lives when they just don't fit or they don't mesh. Like you can keep someone in your life, but if it comes to a point where it's really like black and white, like you cannot, y'all just don't get along, you just don't fit well, your conversations are in two completely different maturity levels, you looking like you might be a friend to me or you may be somebody that I know, but we are not here anymore. We just are in two different places in our lives, and that's okay. That's okay. It's like accepting that you may have somebody who is just a brunch friend. I need to cut this here. You may have somebody who's just a brunch friend or somebody who's just a party friend, somebody who you talk to them when you need advice or you talk to them when, whenever, however they fit into your life. But past that, you may not have anything in common anymore. You may not care about the same thing that you once cared about anymore. And accepting that that's okay. I've noticed that a lot more people than what it was a year or two ago, a lot of people want connections. I've said this before. They want relationships. They want intimacy. They want closer knit relationships. They want that community. They want those people in their lives who are their people, who they can go to and have fun with, not feel judged, to have a connection with. And that's where a lot of parasocial relationships are going to kick in. And it's not going to be good. It's going to be scary because a lot of people, because there are some people who, because of the pandemic and because of all the anxiety and not being used to being around people, a lot of people are going to be afraid to step outside their houses. And it's understandable, but we unintentionally stunt our growth by completely avoiding social situations. We can step outside little by little, maybe go into a shop or something, or, however it is that we can handle. But to completely just say, nah, I'm staying in the house, that never ends well. It never goes well. And this is speaking as someone who knows of people personally that they never got out of that in 40, 50 years, and they're still in their room and they're still terrified. So unfortunately, you have to make the decision to say, I'm not going to stay like this. I want to get out and meet like-minded people. And that's the first start. Because I was in a house for like 3 years because of grief and depression. And I just started to, over the last year and a half or two, and this was prior to the pandemic, but over the last year and a half or two, I started to want to go outside more. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm tired of being in the house. I'm tired of doing the same thing. I'm tired of being around the same exact people. I'm tired of not having fun outside of my house. I'm ready to get out and I'm ready to go. Now I know what to look for in terms of people that I don't want to be around and things that I need to stay away from. I trust my intuition. I trust what I know. I trust my feelings, but I'm also open to believing that only the people who are meant to be around me, only the people who mean well to me, only the people that are going to have my best interests at heart are going to find me. Period. I am out of harm's way. This hair is getting on my nerves. Do you see how it's not even? Okay. Being realistic, but only believing that the best is going to happen. So you're not naive, you're not being caught off guard, but like, I'm hoping for the best. I'm only calling the best people to me. only the best people are going to be around me. If somebody is not for me, my intuition or my light bulb is going to go off and be like, even if I'm not sure, I'm going to be like, because one thing I had to do was, once I started to recognize red flags or things that I just was not comfortable with and I didn't accept, in terms of people, in terms of dating, in terms of friends, in terms of anybody I might consider going into business with, I made a mental list, or you could write it down. I actually wrote it down, a list of things that I would not accept. Then I went over them and I had to think, is this from trauma? Because sometimes things can be from trauma. Is this, how would this benefit me in the long run if I don't accept this? What do I want instead of this? What type of people do I realistically want in my life? Um, and then when I started to meet people, I started listening to things. I started listening, taking them at face value. I started listening to their conversations, the things that they would say, because you could find people's values in their conversation. You can find people's values in their conversation, and a lot of us try to force relationships when our values do not match, and wonder why they don't turn out the way that we want them to. Is because they never were supposed to either happen, or they were supposed to be like a lesson or a reminder of, this is not what I want. So now it's up to me, now that I recognize that, to say, all right, bye-bye. Wave like I used to wave at my godson. Bye-bye. I'm little rascals. Bye-bye. I'm out. I'm dipping. It's not for me. We are just not matching. It's not. I'm sorry. But not being completely standoffish. And I know sometimes that happens through trauma. Because sometimes we can block our own friendships. For example, okay, we have a lot of gatherings at our house. For those who know numerology, we live in a 9 house. Is it 9? I think it's 9, which is very good for gatherings, parties, activities. Like, it's always something going on around here. Unless we're all working, it's always something going on around here in our house. We live in like a 9 house, for those who understand numerology, which is very good for gatherings. It's very social energy. So unless we're all working, or we're all not, we're all resting, there's always something going on. We downstairs together, we commune, play games, all that. So we had a gathering last year or whatever, and somebody brought their significant other, and she had a resting bitch face. She did. But I know that I have a resting bitch face. I don't look like it, but my face really be like, and I don't realize. And I could tell that the more she started to see how free we were, the more she started to see how, judgmental we were not, how weird we were, because we are the weird household. We will make even the most like standoffish, uppity, what somebody would call uppity people, feel comfortable, because it's like, we don't give a fuck about what people think about us. So if you're worried about being judged, this is not the house for that. At all, which I love. Those are the only type of people I want around me. If they're afraid of being judged, you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel comfortable. But somebody who may not have been aware that she could have either just had a rested bitch face, or she could have been like, somebody who may not have thought that she could have been just had a rested bitch face or whatever, or could have been nervous, somebody would have taken that as her being judgmental. And not saying that there is a need to be self-aware, but I've literally seen some people been out and about, where I've been out and about, and I'm very friendly. I will start a conversation. I get a feeling if you want me to or not, but I have no problem starting conversations. I don't like doing small talk, but if I see that somebody is off to the side by themselves or something, no problem. I'm very social when I want to be. And I've seen some people who literally was like, arms folded, standoffish. Body language says a lot. It does. And this says, don't mess with me. I want to be protected. I don't want to be bothered. And if you really don't, Hey, keep your body language. But if you know that you want to be approached, if you know that you want to meet people and you want to have friends and you possibly want to be in a relationship, sometimes you have to go in with the mindset of, I'm going to try my best, because we're not always aware of what we do or how we come off. I'm going to try my best to kind of relax, loosen up my mouth so that I'm not tight lipped. And I'm going to try to come off as friendly in spaces when you want to. Because sometimes that may be the difference between someone approaching you and somebody being like, oh, they probably don't want to be bothered. Me, it's not that I ignore that, but I will at least attempt to say hi. Hi, how are you? Or I like your dress, I like your shirt, or you have you been here before? Like, and then if I don't feel the vibe, I'm like, well, enjoy your day. If you feel like talking or feel like hanging, come find me if you want to. But I'm like a bull on fire. I will try if I feel like it. But a lot of times we can honestly be the only one standing in our way of meeting people because of how we come off or our energy, or not realizing that we have trauma and things that we haven't dealt with that come out. I don't know if she's gonna see this. She probably won't. But my best friend loved her down. She's very aggressive, and some of that is part of her personality, and some of that is very much trauma. And she doesn't realize that she can come off very much a lot to some people, and some of the people who would love that and accept that are not necessarily the people that she wants in her life. You know, so sometimes through maturity and dealing with our trauma and talking about things and trying to figure out why our personalities are the way that they are, because sometimes it's natural and sometimes it's a defense mechanism. Sometimes our personalities are natural and sometimes it's a defense mechanism, and we just haven't realized that yet. And I know through experience, through talking to a myriad of people, because I enjoy talking to people. I do. I especially I love talking to people who are somewhat self-aware of their personalities and are free, don't really judge too much, who, or, even if they are set in their ways, they'd be like, hey, honey, if you like it, I love it, type of energy. Or people who are trying to be free, trying to be a little looser or trying to be a little bit more comfortable because they're so used to people judging them. Those are the type of people I love to be around. And through conversation, through my own self-reflection, which is taken like, it'll be 6 years in January that I've been going through this full transformation, because this is not the person I was 6 years ago. No, it was not even close. I was very much get the fuck out of my face. I'm still ready when some shit pop off. I am, but now I'm more like, I need to bother with that. Is it really that deep? Nah, let me get a snack. I choose my peace more often than that, and there are people who want all of the smoke because there was a time when they didn't feel protected. There was a time when they didn't feel like somebody had their back. There was a time when they feel like they couldn't speak. They couldn't voice their opinion. They couldn't, say what they wanted to say because somebody would shut them up because they didn't value what they said, or they told the truth. And the person who were attempting to shut them up didn't want them to tell that truth, didn't want them to speak their truth, wanted them to be exactly how they wanted to be. And a lot of times that personality is still marinating in us, and it's trauma mixed with defense mechanism, and we don't realize that. So the more that we realize that sometimes, depending on our current situation, we may be protected. The dog, oh, there she go. Big ass dog upstairs. Um, waiting for her to come down and bark at my door. But we are protected. We are not in the same situations that we were in 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, even 5 months ago. If that's the case, we do not need to protect ourselves the same way that we always have. We are aware if we come in a situation where we need to protect ourselves, because learning and remembering lessons is very important. The DC came out of me. That's very important. Remembering lessons so that we don't make the same mistakes more than once or twice, 3, 4, 5 times. I've made them 5 times. 5 is my cutoff, especially when I acknowledge what I've learned. And we are okay. And even if we aren't okay, saying that we're okay, it is so easy for us to claim the bad shit that's currently happening to us. But it's not that easy, possibly because we can't see it, to claim that there's going to be good things that happen to us. Some of us are miserable. Some of us have been miserable. And the pandemic just brought that to the surface. A lot of people have always been miserable. There was a time when I was miserable. And we didn't realize it. Yo! I'm ready wherever you are. Alright, let me put on some pants. Coming back to that. Basically, there are going to be a lot of people who are reflecting and going over our lives and the things that we want, because we want those connections. But in order for us to have those healthy connections, we cannot be the same people we always were. We cannot have the same demeanor, the same protective guard over us, the same, withdrawn personality, the same anxious, you can't always avoid anxious, the same nervous or withdrawn or shy personalities. We have to believe that there are going to be good things that happen to us. Even if we don't know that, we have to claim it. Say, I know the bad relationships that I've been in, and I know what to look for. And I believe that, and not rushing into it. You can take your time. You don't have to call somebody your friend after knowing them for 3 months or even 6. I'm getting to know these people. But believing that if something is off, I trust myself enough to know whether or not it's going to be good for me. And the more little decisions that you start to make, the more you start to trust your intuition and trust yourself, the more you start to know and believe that you know what's good for you and you know what's not. So that's going to be happening over the next few years, and some people won't make it. They won't make it. Some people will not make it far because they're still so afraid of stepping out. And hopefully through social media and people sharing their stories, they'll be able to step out of it, because you need that human connection. And those parasocial relationships are going to grow to an exponential. It's going to be crazy, to the point of people having parasocial relationships with people that they meet in grocery stores, with their cashiers and the people who wash their cars or just doing service work. They're going to feel an attachment to them because they're so hungry and desperate for that connection. And it's going to be uncontrollable. People ain't going to know where the fuck it came from. And it's going to be bad. But it doesn't have to be. We can change however it is that we want to. I'm looking for my glasses because I got to go. Oh, there we go. Give me some snacks. I'm out.